Today, what I'm really going to do is use my 7 to 10 minutes to tell you a story from my youth. Now, when I was growing up, I had there were 6 of us kids, but my next oldest brother, he was a few years older than me, and him and I, at various points in our life and stuff like that, we were pretty close, and I got along with all of his friends and they got along with me. So sometimes when they were going to go do some stuff that maybe I shouldn't have done because I was kind of young, they would take me along, and I did some stuff as a real young guy that probably shouldn't have done even if I was an older guy. But this is about the bull and the farmer. So what had happened is there's this, it used to be a quarry. They started digging in this quarry, and then they hit underground spring, and it just started filling up, and so they basically stopped using it as a quarry. But it was on the land of this farmer that he was into prize bulls and breeding bulls and all that kind of stuff, and he had this one area that he just kind of left this bull, that's where he would do his stuff, and then when he needed to breed with that bull, have that bull bred out to heifer or whatever, then they would come and work with the bull. But that bull, he could be pretty aggressive. Most bulls, if you leave them alone and you don't mess with them, they'll not mess with you. But if you start getting them ticked off, just like most guys, right? You leave me alone, I'm fine. You start giving me a hard time, buddy, we're gonna have an issue. And that's kind of the way that bull was. And anyway, we used to go out there, kind of watch for the bull or whatever, and get through the field. We had to come up over this big hill and get through this barbed wire fence, and then through this field, and then we could get to where the quarry was and get down inside there and go swimming, because it was really deep and clear and cold, and man, on a hot summer day, that felt great. But anyway, we'd done that a few times and stuff, and there was a couple of times that the farmer would be coming through the field, and he'd see us, and he'd start coming towards us, and we'd just take off. Well, one time, this guy, I'm changing names, so if you hear the name, it's probably not who you're thinking if you're from East Tennessee or whatever. But anyway, this guy, let's just call him Greg Kaiser. Greg was a friend of my brother's, but not like one of his good friends. He was more of a friend of my brother's, but we did stuff with him sometimes. Well, anyway, Greg, we were in the water, swimming, having a good time, kind of not doing anything wrong. Well, Greg liked to pick on the bull. Well, he was out there, and he was yelling at the bull, and he started picking up some rocks and stuff, not like huge, massive, slabs of granite, or, it was nothing like that, nothing huge chunk of limestone or whatever. I mean, he was just throwing like little stones at him. It probably wouldn't have hurt the bull anyway. But he was just trying to instigate the bull to get the bull to charge and all that. He was just being a jerk. Well, we didn't realize that the farmer was actually in the woods doing something. And he heard Greg yelling at the bull. So he ended up jumping in his truck and coming through the edge of the woods real quietly and saw what Greg was doing. All of a sudden, he's beeping on his horn. We heard the farmer coming. Everybody jumped out of there, takes off. Greg stays behind a ways, waiting for the farmer to get a little closer, and he's throwing stuff at the bull, trying to get the bull to charge. Well, anyway, Greg finally turns around and starts running, and Scott and Terry, they're holding I don't know if you've ever went through a barbed wire fence, but they're holding the barbed wire strands apart so that Greg can get through in a hurry, because that farmer is getting pretty close. Well, all of a sudden, Greg, as he's bending down to climb through, he reached up a hand and flipped off the farmer who had already stopped. And when he flipped off the farmer, all of a sudden, boom! And Greg went down just kind of fell through the barbed wire fence. And we took off running. They let the fence go. He climbed up out of there, takes off, and the farmer's yelling, "Next time you come here, you little," to something, bad words, "I'll use lead instead of rock salt." And he actually shot Greg in the backside with, you know, rock salt. Now, I don't know if you've ever gotten salt in a wound, but man, it'll tear you up. I tell you what, it'll hurt, man. Well, anyway, that's what happened. He got him a backside full of rocks all from the farmer's shotgun. Now, I know that's pretty common. You know, you see that a lot all over the country. A lot of farmers used to, instead of shooting you, they would just shoot you with rock salt. And after you cried for about a week, you know, you learned your lesson and you didn't go back. Well, it was probably a month and a half before we went back there and went swimming and stuff, but we never messed with a bull or anything like that. And I think the big thing is that the farmer got mad that he was throwing rocks at his prize bull, trying to get him all riled up, and then had the audacity to flip off the farmer, you know. So Greg never went back there. Probably a good idea, yeah. But my brother and a couple of his friends, that, you know, we didn't do anything to, you know, cause a big problem or anything like that. We'd go in there, we'd go swimming, we'd be quiet, we'd leave, you know. And kind of like what he doesn't know won't hurt me. But anyway, well, I'm coming into the big metropolis of Bell Buckle, Tennessee. Population 2 horses, and the preacher owns them both. And but anyway, sorry about that. I had to clear my throat, and I can't edit that out. Don't that bite. But anyway, going up here to see if there's any mail, and then I'm going to run into town. It's in the 40s, so it's pretty nice. Best weather we've had in quite a while, but by the time I start getting home tonight, it's probably going to be in the low 30s, maybe upper 20s, so it'll get cold, but that's all right. I can handle it. But anyway, there's my goofy bastard challenge, and I haven't looked at the time. I hope it's at least 7 minutes, but not over 10. But anyway, I appreciate y'all, and I encourage you to do this kind of thing too, where you just talk and don't edit anything out. And if you're doing ums and ahs and oohs and ahs and gee, you know, that kind of thing, you can't edit that out. So anyway, there you have it. And remember to live your life with the heart of a Viking warrior. Bye for now.